It's a topic we like to discuss a lot here on TheStreet.com TV, Wall Street Confidential. It is U.S. Steel, and rightly so. The stock is doing very well.
Target bump today from one of the analysts. Now, let me just say that the U.S. Steel is part and parcel with what happens after Reg FD, and also in a commodity boom. You have to go back to the 1980s where you saw a commodity boom. What is that defined by? Shortage of product, demand exceeding product, economy not slowing enough to be able to make it so that steel mills have caught up. Nucor's building a steel mill, but it takes a couple years to build a steel mill. It's not like there's a lot of capacity coming in. A lot of capacity was taken out because of all the mergers and because of high labor costs. U.S. Steel's also done remarkably here because the countries that have been producing excess steel, whether it be Brazil or Korea, are now shipping that excess steel to China. So there is no marginal amount of steel. Steel's almost like a little bit like oil right here. Obviously, once you produce enough mills, you can be able to lower the price of steel, but it's not happening. The Reg FD component I find is far more interesting. In the old days, analysts would call, there used to be a lot of analysts to cover steel, now there are very few. Analysts would call the CFO and they'd say, listen, we're using, say, $10 a share. We see you put through a bunch of price increases this quarter. How much of those price increases are sticking, and how much of the price increases are just to offset raw costs, because obviously it takes a lot of energy to make steel. We don't have that back channel anymore. So what you get is this kind of levitation as smart people put together the numbers, the price increases, they model the raw costs from the previous quarter, and they bump numbers themselves. This is a constant process rather than happening at once, and it also is a process that is mystifying to retail that doesn't hear any analyst upgrades. It's kind of like the clued in, people can figure it out themselves. And so what's happened is, when I say clued in, I mean model clued in. No one's getting a call from behind the scenes. The government prosecutes Reg FD way too well to have any sort of leaks, despite what the conspiracy guys might think. So letter X can levitate to 200 without anything really happening.
All right, well, right now it's at 183, up 1.5%
It's going to 200.
today.
I mean, I just think letter X and Nucor are both stocks that I've repeatedly recommended on Mad Money. It's very interesting just to branch out for a Mad Money moment. But I have repeatedly emphasized the steel stocks, and it is funny. I get a lot of criticism for hopping from one stock to another. I deliberately and almost comically go back to the same themes over and over again, so I'm clearly not hopping. I do have a lot of sector analysis. And letter X and Nucor have been two of my favorites since I started
Well,
the
I was
show.
there when you interviewed the CEO of U.S. Steel.
Right. I mean, the stock was at 124.
Yeah.
I said, this is a huge up stock. It's now literally up 50% from Penn State, which was what, a month ago? Month and a half ago?
Yeah.
And that's not surprising given through the fact that they keep putting through price increases. And the excellent CEO, John Surma, on my show, pre-announced a better than expected quarter. I don't think people realized it was a pre-announcement because it's on Mad Money. The CEOs of America.
It was a quiet period for them.
Right. So the CEOs of America take Mad Money far more seriously than the journalists. It is interesting to note that the show has had a huge impact on stocks on a day-to-day basis, but has never once been mentioned as having so by the Wall Street Journal, which therefore makes it very difficult for people to understand. Anyone who reads, who follows Bloomberg, knows that Bloomberg acts at real time. Writes about the stocks I talk about, because Bloomberg's more caring about the impact on stocks than the Journal, which wants very much to discourage the show. And I don't even mind that. I've had to live with it for 4 years. I'll continue to live with it.
All right. Well, thanks very much, Jim Cramer, on U.S. Steel. It's always here on TheStreet.com TV and also on Mad Money. This is Wall Street Confidential. Stay tuned.